Day of October 2023. Please rise if you're able and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Madam Clerk, would you please read the special meeting notice followed by a roll call?
Certainly. Special Town Board meeting, Monday, October 2nd, 2023, 12:30 p.m. Please be advised that pursuant to Section 62 of Town Law, a special Town Board meeting will be held both in person in the Town Board Meeting Room, Southampton Town Hall, 116 Hampton Road, Southampton, New York, and via video conferencing on Monday, October 2nd, 2023 at 12:30 p.m. for the purpose of considering the following. Presentation of the supervisor's tentative 2024 budget to the town board pursuant to Town Law 1063. Jay Schneiderman, Supervisor, Town of Southampton, dated September 28, 2023. Supervisor Schneiderman.
Present.
Councilwoman McNamara.
Present.
Councilman Martell.
Present.
Councilman Bouvier.
Here.
Councilman Scivone.
Present.
All right, thank you, Sunday. So I'm about to deliver to the board the budget, which Sunday will give to you. One of the most important roles of the town supervisor, obviously, is preparing, as the chief fiscal officer for the town, preparing the budget that will fund the next year. This is my 8th budget, so when I first came, I inherited a budget from Supervisor Throne-Holt. And this budget is something that will be a guiding document for the town board next year when I am not part of this board due to term limits. So putting a budget together is always hard work. You want to make sure that you have all of the things that our residents expect funded, that you have adequate levels across the board. You do your best to try to not burden the taxpayers by keeping taxes low, and not increasing the tax rate. And of course, trying to stay within the tax cap is always it's always a challenge. There were more challenges this year than most because we've been in a highly inflationary environment, which means that we've had to increase wages to be able to attract and keep personnel and for our employees to live within the community and the rising costs of living. The cost of every good and service has increased for us as well, just like all of our residents. So, making it all make sense without, using artificial tactics that so many towns and other levels of government have. There's no tricks in this budget. There's no phony projections of revenue or false projections of expenses. This is a really solid budget, and it's a conservative budget, the same budget practices that have earned us a AAA credit rating from both S&P and Moody's. And it once again holds the line on taxes. Now, the tax rate does increase by 1%, which is much lower than the inflation rate. So you remember, there were many years where the assessors were engaged in reassessing everybody's property. And sometimes they'd go up by 3, 4, 5% a year. And that helped push the tax rate down. But we're in, I believe, the 4th year of a freeze on assessments. And so we don't have that working in our benefit in this case, even though property values are going up. When we apply the tax rate against the value of the property has stayed the same. So to be able to only increase the tax rate by 1%, what does that mean for people? For a home worth $1 million, if this budget becomes the town budget, it's about $14 more per year. It's very small change. It's basically below the rate of inflation and very manageable. But interestingly, it actually does increase certain services to the town. I mean, I focus largely on public safety, policing. So there's actually 4 new police officers that are contained in that budget. That's a significant increase in police staffing size to add 4. So it's about a 4% increase. Also an additional bay constable, harbor master, all public safety. It doesn't contain a lot of, other positions and raises that were requested. The town board's gonna have to wrestle with those requests. I've made decisions the best I could to stay within the cap and, prepare a budget that is, holds the line on taxes and meets all the needs of the town. The capital budget's in here too. It funds 50 projects. It's focused mainly on infrastructure. It soon will be in your hands, and you guys will decide if your priorities are the same as mine, and if not, you'll certainly be able to make changes to it. So there's a lot, doing the budget, the real hard work is in this room here, particularly Dorothy, the controller's office, and Kathleen, meeting with all the department heads, trying to figure this out, trying to work with me, make all the adjustments. This was a particularly complicated year because we didn't know if the trustee tax line was gonna happen until just a few days ago. And if the governor had not signed that bill giving us the extension, there was a lot of formatting changes, a lot of changes to this budget. And because of that, we didn't have time to really get it in the traditional format. So everything is in the budget you're going to receive, but it's not formatted exactly in the way that you may be accustomed to. You should be able to find everything, but in a couple days, we will have an updated budget. We'll replace this document. No numbers are changing, just in terms of the readability and the formatting. So also a tremendous amount of work done by Deborah in terms of getting the budget put together, and Colleen down in CRC, and all the assistants. I think Paula is here, and Frank Zappone, who participated in a lot of the meetings and trying to get this budget finalized, and working with me on the budget message. A lot of things are contained in the budget message, but it's really just a very brief overview. So it's really time for the town board to dive into the document. Why don't we get it presented? So Sunday, I'll ask you to do a little weightlifting there and pass the budget around.
We're going this way, just I have to deliver it to the supervisor. Thank you for your offer, though.
Thank
Here
you,
go.
Cindy. Okay. Oh, that is heavy.
I got it. I'm all set.
Okay.
Thank you.
Almost the same weight as last year. 3 cages.
About 1% more.
That's the 1%, that's a 1% difference.
Thank you.
Now, I didn't go right up to the tax cap. There is some wiggle room. I'm below the tax cap. So if there are things that you wanted to fund that I didn't fund or without piercing the cap, it's possible. But you also, I may have funded things that you don't want to fund, and that's really entirely up to the town board. And as the public digests this, and as the town employees digest it, people will see there's things that make them happy and things that don't make them happy, and we'll all be hearing those positives and negatives and trying to make a decision. Also, we had to, Dorothy and the control's office and myself, had to rely on the whatever numbers that we had. And sometimes between now and the final budget, we get more accurate data. For instance, I've asked the county executive for some additional money from sales tax for our police. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that when the county budget comes out, there's an additional $360,000 approximately dollars additional for our police department. We did the budget as if that doesn't exist. If it does, that's great. There may be some other monies too that we're able to receive that will give us some more wiggle room. So with that, any questions from the board? Okay.
Time to read.
Okay. Before we go to public portion, I would like to add one resolution here, to walk on one resolution, because it's time sensitive. So this is Resolution 44357, authorizes the supervisor to sign Suffolk County Department of Public Works non-utility work permits for various locations within the town of Southampton. I'm making a motion to walk that on.
Second?
Seconded by Councilman Martell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we'll take that up in a moment. And I will move to public portion. Is there anyone who wishes to be heard in public portion? Okay, I'm cognizant of the fact that this is a hybrid meeting. We've been doing this since the pandemic.
There are no participants.
Oh, beautiful. I like that. All right, I'll make a motion to close public portion.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so the only thing that then we have left is this one resolution. So let me make a motion to approve 44357, authorizing the supervisor to sign Suffolk County Department of Public Works non-utility work permits for various locations within the town of Southampton.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell. So on the motion,
Jay,
and
before you continue, I'd like to be added as a co-sponsor.
Did you ask me as well, Sunday?
no, I have no idea if this is gonna pass. Got 3 co-sponsors, so.
You have the whole board.
You know, and let me say this too about the budget. For the budget for next year, Dorothy and I did program quite a bit of money for traffic mitigation, largely for staff in highway and police, whether it's overtime or part-time staff, to deal with a problem. I won't say it's not our creation. I mean, our economy is roaring. There's a lot of construction, but our road infrastructure is limited. It just is. And Montauk Highway and County Road 39, Sunrise Highway, Route 27. There's a lot of people who use that to go to work and go back to from work. Plus, you add in all the tourist traffic and all the everyday traffic, and you got a road network that's been there for a very long time that is just not sufficient to handle the volume of traffic. So we've been trying to be creative with solutions, and we've blinking lights, using cones to add extra lanes. The highway superintendent has come up with some of these ideas, that, waving traffic through certain locations like a Canoe Place in the afternoon, blinking Canoe Place in the morning. So there's about, I think, 5 different intersections that are county intersections where we had permits to blink the lights and do these things, as long as a police office, there's a police presence there. And as long as the weather's okay. They don't do it in inclement weather. But you typically, highway goes out and sets up the cones, and then the police are there during the entire period of the blinking light. And they've had some great success in Watermill. That's not on this because that's a state road. But all the county ones are. So it was County Road 39, several intersections there, in Montauk Highway, the intersection there. So maybe 2 intersections there. Anyway, so that's what this is about. It gives us permission to continue that work. Any questions about that?
I'm happy that we're budgeting it in rather than paying overtime. It's more cost effective.
No, there's still some overtime in it
Well,
as well.
You can't avoid
But
that.
we're budgeting it, and hopefully if the 4 new police officers that are in this budget end up in the final budget, that will help reduce overtime and part-time. I also, I thank Superintendent Ricardo for his work on this, but this blinking light program. But I should also thank Police Chief Kiernan, who's working really hard on it, and also Tom Houghton, our town engineer, who happens to be in the audience now. So thank you, Tom, for your assistance. Okay, so we had a motion and a second. I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. Okay, is there any other business? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Right in time, because we only have the room till 1. That's fast, yeah.
It's,
Oh.
10.